Back everyone. As promised, we are going to start the usability testing and web design lecture today. As I forewarned you all in my last video, this is going to be fairly long, but stay with me. It's all information you need to succeed in your final assignment this class. And yes, as you can tell from the screen, we're going to be moving around quite a bit. So enjoy that. Okay, so in this assignment, you will choose a poorly designed small-scale website. Huge emphasis on the small scale. Local websites will probably be your best bet for this assignment. You're going to analyze its flaws, design to test the website's flaws by watching a user attempt to perform a set of targeted tasks, and then you're going to report back to your client on your findings, suggesting changes based on what you've seen. So yes, the user comes back again, this unit, but you're not dealing with a user persona, you will be dealing with an actual user. During the semester, students usually create 3 separate documents for this assignment, but I'm only asking you to write 2. A usability test proposal, that'll be due next week, and a report on your findings. The report being the final assignment of the class. Okay, so you've already done a basic usability test this semester by asking an expert to review your instruction set. But every time you ask someone to peer review your paper, you're also running a basic usability test. Usability tests let designers gain an outsider's insight on the things they've designed. So you're not just looking at, does this product I've made function? You're looking at, can people actually use it? There's a very big difference there. So a big thing in this unit, besides writing 2 papers, one this week and one due on the last day of class, is actually running a usability test. You're going to choose a poorly designed website and you're going to watch a user. This could be one of your friends, colleagues, family members. Unfortunately, pets don't count. You do need a human user here. You'll have them run through a list of common tasks on that website. You'll give them the task, by the way. So for instance, if you are running a usability test over a bad restaurant website, common tasks might include finding the menu, locating prices, finding hours of operation, and looking for a phone number and address. As your user attempts to accomplish these tasks, you're going to record data from them in a couple of ways. First, you're going to use the think aloud protocol, a common method from psychology in which you encourage your user to literally think aloud. You're going to ask them to talk about what they're doing, why they are clicking on what they are, what they're getting frustrated with, etc. And you really may have to work to get people to talk to you when they're frustrated. When we're frustrated with a website, we might get kind of quiet, right? We might cuss a little bit, but we don't really talk about it. So if your user's frustrated, make sure you prompt them to tell you what's going on. You're going to use some kind of voice recorder, whether on your phone, your computer, whatever, in order to collect quotes. Because user quotes are essential to showing your client that your concerns about their bad websites are very real. Ideally, you would also record the screen using a program like QuickTime's Screen Recorder, which you see in action right now. So what are you actually doing in this first assignment that's due next Monday? Let's go over to the assignment sheet and take a look at it. As I go over this, if you're confused by anything, there's a pretty good student example in our readings, and I'll be going over common errors on student examples later this week. So here you have the 4.1 website redesign proposal. So this is the first part of a 2-part assignment in which you will propose a redesign of a website to your client. You're going to test the website's usability and create a lab report in which you describe your suggestions for website changes. At this first stage, you're going to create a proposal document for your client. This document must do the following. Choose a small-scale website, preferably from a local business academic department that you think has several design flaws which can be improved. Users and purposes. Identify what the primary goals of the site are and who you think the target audience for the site is. Specifically, you must identify 3 main purposes of the website, 2 of which you will test. And you must write a user persona for a typical user of the site. You're going to identify design flaws of the website. Analyze 3 specific pages, a home page and 2 secondary pages. You must analyze the home page. You need to do this visually using screen captures and labels. Furthermore, you need to describe these flaws in terms of your target users and their goals on the website. So this section should reference the web design PowerPoint, the top 5 design flaws reading, and one other reading you find at Smashing Magazine. And finally, you get the actual proposal. You're going to conclude by proposing a usability test to your client, the website owner. This test must include the following: a scripted introduction, a homepage tour with questions, and design scenarios. And here, as always, you have the rubric. As you can see, the proposal aspect is massively important here, followed by the flaws analysis and the site description. All right. So for the rest of this lecture, I'm going to go over some simple common errors of web design that you might come across. One note on choosing a poorly designed website before we move on, however. You don't want to do a huge website like Amazon. The simpler the website, the easier this assignment will be. You have a short amount of time to do it, and usability testing something like Amazon would be so painful in this amount of time, so don't do that. Good websites in the past have included university websites, restaurants and bars, apartment rental sites, and local businesses from U-Haul to the Norman Library. And as you are choosing a website, remember that an ugly website is not necessarily an unusable website. We're looking for websites in which users have a hard time accomplishing the task they need to. Okay, so a lot of people think what makes a bad website is ugliness. But as I said, it's much, much more than that. Aesthetics do impact a website's success to some degree, but aesthetics doesn't impact usability all the time. This goes back to what we've discussed the entire class. What makes a website usable is user-centeredness. Bad websites don't let us accomplish what we want to. So in this unit, we're focusing specifically on tasks. And the big question, does this website let me accomplish the key task I want it to? The most simple rule in usable web design is don't make me think. This means a couple of things, but primarily it means everything from links to images should be self-explanatory. I should not have to ponder or puzzle over where to find some information. I should be able to get to it immediately. So let's look at a simple task on the College of Engineering's website. University websites are notoriously difficult to use because they often have to balance serving pre-existing students with recruiting new students and showing off to donors. That's a lot to try to balance on one page. So which user is this site primarily designed for when I look at the home page? Who comes out on top? So let's do our task. Here we have the College of Engineering website. Let's say I'm a freshman and I'm interested in aerospace engineering and I want to find a course checklist for that. I'd like to find the degree plan. I'm going to do a think aloud protocol here as I try to find that checklist, and you decide for yourselves how this is going. Okay, so I'm here. Immediately, I just see a picture that's not too appealing. The trees are nice, but I don't know what the building is. So I come down here. Do I see a degree plan yet? No. Pursuing excellence. I don't know what that means, but I would like to pursue excellence, I guess. Okay, now here we go. This is what we call below the fold. right? Because if I just come here, this is everything I see. I have to scroll to get to the really important information. Now then, immediately my eyes are drawn here. This doesn't do anything for me. But, oh look, here we go. We have navigation as a sidebar. So I'm guessing academics and programs is where I need to go. Okay, and here I have an additional sidebar, which is very nice, and I have additional information over here. Now then, I see immediately there are two ways I can do this. I can go straight to degree plans and flowcharts. That doesn't sound good. Or I can come down and, hey, I see what I need to see. Aerospace engineering. Okay, still not seeing degree plans. I'm seeing what I can do, so let's actually go to the degree plans and flowcharts. Guessing 2016-17 is what I need. So BS, Aerospace Engineering, there we go. Dear God, I was promised a degree sheet. Looks like I have a flow chart. Now then, we could do a usability test of this flow chart itself. I can guarantee you it would fail pretty miserably from my perspective, but from the perspective of a freshman engineering major, this may work for them. Okay, so coming back here, the first thing you'll be asking your users to evaluate is their general impression of the site's homepage. Homepages are the make or break of a website. They should be incredibly clear, but also thematic. Good homepages have the following: clear navigation, clear imagery and logo, search bar, avoids needless words, and resonates with the target audience, which is a big thing to focus on here. So let's take a look at a local coffee shop's homepage and see if it passes muster. Okay, so here we have Elemental Coffee. This is really successful, right? Because we have a logo up here. We have ambiance with our picture. Everything's very clear. We have an easy to navigate search bar. And we have an index up here. So this is a great example of a user-friendly, successful homepage. Another key part of a website's design is general site structure. That is how pages are linked to one another. Unlike what happened with the College of Engineering website, I should usually be able to reach any internal page I want from the home page in 3 clicks or under. I should be able to predict what content will be in what section of the website under what links. Often in usability testing to redesign a website structure, we use a method called card sorting. In card sorting, the web designer provides the subject with a list of topics and asks the user to categorize and group those topics together in whatever way feels right to them. So the next step down from a larger website architecture is individual page design. Good web pages have a clear visual hierarchy. And hey, look at that. There was a reason we learned about visual hierarchy earlier in the course after all. One of the most basic elements that leads to good or bad websites is following website genre standards. That is, if I asked you where a logo on most standard websites goes, you wouldn't say in the lower right-hand corner. You would say in the upper left. If I asked you where the main navigation bar goes, you'd say the top center. Users, as this diagram illustrates, expect things to be in specific places. Okay, so let's see this in action. Here's Lowe's website. Let's say I want a new bathtub. Where do I click? Let's go back to the home page. So the good news, they have their navigation bar over here. I want a new bathtub. I'm guessing bathroom is where I click. Now the navigation disappears, which isn't best practice, but you can hover and you get it back. So that's nice. I know where I clicked, I know where I want to go, and the navigation does stay the same, even if it disappears. So this is fairly good. This is probably a high C, B page because it gets me where I want to go. It makes terms obvious. It gives me a search bar. The only things that are knocking this is that the navigation does disappear, right? And even though you're thinking people should be smart enough to know to go back here, you're right. But when it comes to user-centeredness, having this here constantly makes the page just that much better. And the other thing knocking this down is the page break, right? They chose a hierarchy, they focused on what they wanted to focus on, but I have to scroll through a bunch of fluff to get to where I actually want to get. But overall, decent site, decent design. All right, so you also want to look for signposting on websites. So once I'm on a page, I should be able to see the title of the specific page, have a visual marker of the page I'm on, and know the path I took to get to that page. And uniformity is important. When I click something, the title of the button should match the title of the page I'm sent to. And as you do this, think about the trunk test. The trunk test is extremely helpful with navigating usability test. So imagine you've been blindfolded and locked in the trunk of a car, then driven around for a while and dumped on a page somewhere deep in the bowels of a website. If the page is well designed, when your vision clears, you should be able to answer these questions without hesitation. What site is this? What page am I on? What are the major sections of this site? What are my options at this level? Where am I in the scheme of things? How can I search? Okay, and finally, we'll talk about beautification just a little bit. Right, again, this isn't as important as actual usability, but aesthetics enhance. So again, look for uniformity, white space, color schemes. Is the visual hierarchy consistent? Is it image driven? And yes, scannability comes back one more time. Scannability is extremely important. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Later this week, we'll go over common errors in this assignment. And on day 3, we're going to talk about design scenarios and actually running your test.